In this video, I want to talk about how I set up and manage my Etsy store so that I've been able to make over $400,000 in revenue per year over the last 2 years on Etsy. And that has resulted in over 1.3 million sales on Etsy since I started 3.5 years ago. The first step to this, and to be able to even manage this type of volume, is to have a supplier that helps me automate all of my orders so that when I do have 100 to 200 orders a day, that I am not stuck at home working all night to fulfill these orders. And that is exactly why I use Printify. I set up all my listings in Printify, I push them to Etsy, and then when I get a sale, Printify automatically picks that up, they print and ship it, and then they actually mark my Etsy order as complete and update the tracking so that I actually don't have to do anything if I get a sale unless I get a customer service question. And this has been huge for me. Prior to this, I actually had a custom portrait Etsy shop that when I got 10 orders a day, I was so overwhelmed and I burnt out so quickly. So moving into my next Etsy store, I needed to find a way to automate this to be able to live the life that I wanted, and Printify has allowed me to do that. The next thing I did that I think has been game changer for me is I had focus in product, but not in niche. So I knew I wanted to sell t-shirts and sweatshirts, and I actually found that sweatshirts sold better for me. So I made sweatshirts my main product, and then I tested a whole bunch of niches. I didn't just pick one niche to stick with. I tested travel destinations, different hobbies, different careers, and I just threw out a wide net of different designs applying to different niches before I decided which type of niche I wanted to focus on. I am very big on testing, especially with Etsy and Printify. It's really fast to get a new listing out there. So instead of spending majority of my time doing research with different niches, I'm testing with different niches. And I'll talk about a little bit later in this video how to do that quickly. But again, I just put it out a large net of different niches. And when I found the ones that were working, that's when I started making more in those niches and expanding. So nowadays, my store does still have many niches, but there is one big one I focus on. And over the years, I've had different ones that I have focused on, but I am not siloing myself to just one niche. But to do this, I highly recommend, yes, you still have focus on the product. By having just one product, it makes it a whole lot easier to do design research. It makes it a whole lot easier to get good mock-ups and to really do really well at that one product. And if you don't have focus on either your product or your niche, your store is going to be all over the place. So have focus in either at least product or niche, but I recommend having the focus in the product. The next thing that is so important for your store is to learn how to do research and understand how to use research to make your store better. So by knowing that I am focusing all my beginning designs on sweatshirts, I know when I want to do a new design, I'm just going to look up sweatshirts and start seeing what types of designs, what types of mock-ups, what types of keywords people are using to be making sales with this product. So looking this up, I'm going to see tons of bestsellers. And one thing I noticed off the bat, a lot of the bestsellers are using a folded mock-up. A lot of them just seem to have more than one type of print. So a lot of them have a sleeve print and a front print. That's something I want to keep in mind as well. Scrolling down, we're going to see things like this, Mary. We see this dad one. Again, we're seeing some sleeve prints that are doing really, really well. And yeah, so many of these bestsellers, again, are using a folded mock-up. So this is where my mock-up research comes into play. When I'm buying my mock-ups for my sweatshirts, I'm going to start with some folded mock-ups. Another thing I'm starting to notice with sweatshirts is really simple designs are working. Usually a just text across the front with some sleeve print, this varsity print, or we have 3 different icons across the top. And that's what I've noticed doing a lot of my sweatshirt design. And this is going to change between all of the different products that you research. That's why, again, sticking to one helps a lot. And then when I find a design that I can make my own, I'm going to start changing up the design a bit, and I'm going to be putting more niches on it. So this is when I come to my niche testing. I have done many videos on this about how I find one design, add value to it, and then I'm applying it to many different niches. I'll link up my last video on this below, but I'm going to test with one design up to 20 different types of niches. And it's all using the same design that is backed by research. And then once I start to notice, because I've created a few different design types, I'm going to be doing this multiple different times. If I start to notice that one niche is doing really well, or a certain design type is doing really well, that's when I'm going to start, instead of starting from zero, I'm going to start having focus. So I'm going to start creating more designs for that niche. I'm going to be doing research more in that niche. I'm going to be creating more types of designs with that type of design. So I'm just expanding from what's working. I reuse designs a whole lot. When I get one that starts kicking off, I'm just going to reuse that design and change up little things. Maybe add a customization to it, add a sleeve print to it, change up the wording just a little bit, try different mock-ups. Again, I'm always just expanding on what's working, and that's what's helped me get up tons of new listings. And again, because they're starting from a place of sales, they're more likely to sell. And you might be like, wait, I've heard, Christina, that you sell more than sweatshirts. I actually do. When something becomes a bestseller, that design's doing really well. So this is the point where I'll lose a little bit of focus, but the focus is back onto the design. So now if I have a best-selling sweatshirt, I'm gonna put that design on other products that it works with. It's not gonna work with every product. Some designs work better with mugs, some of them with ornaments, some of them with t-shirts, but I'm gonna be adding that best-selling design to some new products. Usually t-shirt and sweatshirts usually will sell well. They have similar types of design styles, but I've even done some of my bestsellers, again, on ornaments that became bestsellers, mugs, tumblers, but I don't worry with those products until I have proof of selling on a sweatshirt. And I am never stopping this process of testing, seeing what works by going through all my recent orders and expanding on what's already working. So it's gonna be a lot harder at the start of your journey because you're in complete testing mode. But once you start getting data, it's so much easier to expand and keep adding things that have a higher likelihood of becoming bestsellers. Even 3.5 years later, after starting my Etsy store, I am still continuously adding to my store because trends change, things change. People kind of steal and make your design better, which is going to happen. So I'm constantly adding to my store. Not only does Etsy reward stores that are constantly active, but you're just constantly putting up new designs that have a better chance of being sold. For me, my bestseller last year did not sell this year, but I had a new bestseller this year, which probably won't be my bestseller again next year. But again, because everything's based back in data, I am pretty confident that I'm gonna find brand new bestsellers over and over again with my store. But I'm never just leaving my store dormant. I'm always active in it. And getting even more advanced, if you get to a point where the customer service is unmanageable, sometimes you can make hundreds of sales a day. Sometimes during Q4 season, things are so crazy that it can be hard to manage and be overwhelming. But at one point, I think about 1.5 years into opening my store, when I started not really liking doing the customer service, I hired a virtual assistant part-time to check on my store twice a day and answer my customer service questions. And now she works full-time with me, helping me in both customer service and with other parts of this business, including the C.U.Online business. So when you start finding that you're at the point that just trying to manage your store is overwhelming and that you're not being able to focus on growing, I would just look up virtual assistant or VA. On my channel, I have a 2-part series on how I found, hired, and managed my virtual assistant for my Etsy store. And the last little tip that I have for you guys and how I've been able to keep my store up is expecting changes. The Etsy algorithm has changed so much from when I first started. Descriptions didn't used to matter in your SEO. Before, you had to offer free shipping to rank high, which I no longer have to do. And I'm gonna expect that there's gonna be tons of changes in 2025 that I'm going to have to adapt to. Recently, you might have noticed there's new EU rules, which we've had to work on around. But as a business owner and someone who wants to keep my store successful for a long time, I'm constantly finding out how to stay on top of these, pivot when I need to make sure that my store doesn't just flatline one day. If you have more questions about how I maintain my store, have grown my store, any questions, let me know in the comments below and I'll help you out. I've been also trying to make videos based on a lot of the comments that I'm seeing. So thank you guys so much. If this helped, if you could drop a like and subscribe, it would help so much. Thank you guys, and I'll see you next week.